All right, I think we're going to get started in a minute or two once the delicious treats are passed out. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kyle Cooper. I am the president of the Police Board. I am now calling the board's January 18th, 2024 public meeting to order. We thank CAN TV for covering this meeting. It is being broadcast on Channel 27 and live streamed at cantv.org and on the CAN TV app. Board members Edie and Safakis are unable to attend this meeting in person and wish to attend remotely. Is there a motion to permit them to do so?
I so move. Paula Wolf.
Second, Mariah Cusack.
All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. In addition to the police board members, we have the following city officials here with us this evening. Superintendent of Police, Larry Snelling, Chief Administrator of the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, Andrea Kirsten, Deputy Inspector General for Public Safety, Tabara Richardson, Chief of the Chicago Police Department's Bureau of Internal Affairs, Yolanda Talley, Acting General Counsel to the Superintendent, Scott Spears, and the Police Board's Executive Director, Max Caproni. Before we proceed to the items on the meeting agenda, I want to take a moment to recognize Board Member Gian Foreman, who is attending his final meeting this evening. Gian, we thank you for your service, and I understand that you would like to say a few words, so please do so.
It's been a real pleasure for me to serve on the police board over the last 13 years. I was sharing with the board earlier today as we were reminiscing. I came into this thing, and one of my mentors, who was one of the former board presidents, asked me how could I help the city in a bigger way. I was volunteering at a local high school, and the opportunity came up under Mayor Daley to serve on the police board, and it was not anything that I ever thought about doing. In doing so, I've now served under 4 mayors, 5 permanent superintendents, as well as some great interim superintendents. We've been through a lot together, some great board members. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about community, working together. I've learned a lot about police. I was sharing in 2010, when I first started, we had a series of police officers that were killed that year. And I made it a point to attend, since I've been on the board, every police officer's funeral. And I remember meeting the family of Thomas Wortham. But I also remember meeting the brother of Rakia Boyd. And the pain that those two families felt, it was the same pain. And so as we sit here and we have to make judgments about careers of police officers, we don't take that job lightly. It's something that I think that it's hard on us. It may look to the public like we're on one side or we're on another side, but we fight like brothers and sisters as we have to make these decisions, because these are decisions that impact the whole city. And so in city council, when I was there last, they asked me the question, what are some of the things that you learned? And I think a couple of things. One, that we each, all of us in the city of Chicago, have a responsibility to do something to make our city better. It could be do something such as the great work as our friends from We Win Together, coming to the board meetings every month, giving suggestions, but also providing good feedback in terms of what we do. Or whether or not, if it's us, or now CCPSA giving policy recommendations to the board, to the police department about what we can do to improve our city. And so this has been a real learning experience for me. I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I strongly encourage, we have openings on the board, so I strongly encourage, go to the CCPSA website. It's been a wonderful learning experience, and I'm really grateful I need to be specific about a couple of people. I know I'm going to get myself in trouble with it, but Max Caproni, you've been just incredible to work with, great partner. We've been through a lot together, personally as well as work. Learned a lot from Demetrius Carney and Lori Lightfoot as board presidents that I got an opportunity to learn under. And Paula, you've just been an incredible mentor, co-partner, co-president. I've learned so much. And finally, I don't want to get myself in trouble later. I'm really grateful to my wife and to my daughter. Man, this is not an easy job. And I can remember times when my daughter would come home from school and ask me, man, like not only students, but teachers, they would approach her and ask, like, why did your dad make this decision? Right? And, they were kind of hard conversations that we had to have at home. You know how young people are. They know all the right answers, right? And so there would be hard conversations that we have at home, not very dissimilar to the conversations that community comes or police officers bring to us, right? And so, this took a lot of time away from my family. The superintendent searches, we had a little controversy one year with the superintendent search, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, right? And I'm really glad to be a Chicagoan and grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your service, Kian. We will now proceed to the items on the meeting agenda, and at the end, we will have some time for some public comments. So first up, is there a motion to approve the draft of the minutes of the board's public and closed meetings held on December 21st, 2023?
So moved, Paula Wolf. Second, Mariah Cusack.
All in favor, raise your hands and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the schedule for the meetings for 2024. Just so everybody is aware, the schedule of the board's regular monthly meetings for 2024 have been set, and they are now posted on the board's website. And that website is chicago.gov/policeboard. The next regular public meeting is scheduled to take place on Thursday, February 22nd at 7:30 p.m. And this meeting will be here in person at Chicago Public Safety Headquarters. Please note that unlike this month, next month's meeting will take place on the fourth Thursday of February, after which we will turn to our regular third Thursday of the month in March for our subsequent meeting. The police board meets in executive session to consider various matters. Those discussions are closed to the public as authorized by Section 2C1, 4, 11, and 21 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act. Information on matters discussed in the executive sessions is included in the minutes of the meetings posted on our website. Is there a motion to close a series of future executive sessions as authorized by these sections of the Open Meetings Act?
So moved, Paula Wolf. Second, Mariah Cusack.
All in favor, raise your hands and say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. The next item on the agenda is an update on the status of the arbitrator's recent ruling regarding police disciplinary cases. In October 2023, Arbitrator Edwin Benn issued a final opinion that allows Chicago police officers to choose to have the most serious police disciplinary cases heard by an arbitrator rather than the Chicago Police Board. Last month, the City Council voted to reject this ruling, which returned the matter to the arbitrator. 2 weeks ago, on January 4th, Arbitrator Benn issued a follow-up opinion reaffirming his ruling. The matter will now return for further consideration by the City Council, which meets next week on January 24th. I want to reiterate that I strongly disagree with Arbitrator Benn's ruling, which, if implemented, would disrupt a system that has effectively promoted transparency and accountability and handling serious cases of police misconduct in the city of Chicago for nearly 60 years. While Arbitrator Ben inappropriately accuses the mayor and city council members of violating their oath of office, makes perplexing references to former Trump's big lie, and reinforces an arbitrary retroactive date, there is no question that if his ruling is allowed to take effect, it would erode public trust in the police and reduce accountability for officers involved in serious cases of wrongdoing. Such an outcome serves neither the public nor the vast majority of the dedicated Chicago police officers who risk their lives daily to serve the public. Contrary to Arbitrator Ben's assertions, these distinctions between proceedings before the police board and private arbitration are both significant and undeniable. For example, charges brought against officers are publicly available on the police board's websites, whereas arbitration keeps them shrouded in secrecy. The police board conducts disciplinary hearings in an open forum, while arbitration proceedings are closed to the public. The police board takes final action in full view of the public during monthly meetings, such as this one, while arbitrators render their decisions in private. The police board publishes detailed written decisions on its website, explaining the rationale behind its findings, whereas arbitrators' decisions remain secret and concealed from public scrutiny. These distinctions go beyond mere procedural matters, as extensive public reporting on this issue has repeatedly confirmed that when police disciplinary cases are funneled through private arbitration, officers either evade punishment altogether or their recommended sentences are reduced by as much as 50%. Put simply, if this ruling is allowed to take effect, police accountability will suffer and the people of Chicago will bear the burden. The next item we have on the agenda is police disciplinary cases. There is one announcement of a ruling in a disagreement case that board member Carr Favors will make.
I was randomly selected from the police board's membership to consider one matter on which the chief administrator of the Civilian Office of Police Accountability and the superintendent of police did not agree regarding the discipline of an officer. In request for review number 23-17, the chief administrator recommended that police officer Alberto Covarrubias be discharged from the Chicago Police Department for using deadly force and failing to immediately render medical aid in violation of CPD policy. The superintendent did not agree that the officer used deadly force in violation of CPD policy and proposed that he be suspended for 90 days. After considering this matter, it is my opinion that the superintendent did not meet the burden of overcoming the chief administrator's recommendation for discipline. A full hearing before the police board is an appropriate next step that would allow the board to thoroughly consider all relevant evidence regarding the officer's conduct. A copy of the written opinion will be posted on the board's website.
Thank you, board member Carr Favors. The next item on the agenda is appeals by disqualified applicants to become police officers. When a person who applies to become a Chicago police officer is disqualified and removed from the eligibility list due to the results of a background examination, that person has a right to appeal to the police board. The board, as authorized by the Open Meetings Act, has discussed in a closed meeting several appeals. We will now take final action on these appeals. Is there a motion to affirm the disqualification decision for the following appeals? 23 AA 27, 29, 31, 33 through 37, and 39, and reverse the disqualification decision for the following appeals, or following appeal, I should say. 23 AA 3A.
Paula Wolf, so moved.
Ronnie Cusack, second.
I will now call on the members of the board for their votes. Board Member Wolf?
Aye.
Board Member Block?
Aye.
Board Member Carr Favors?
Aye.
Board Member Cusack?
Aye.
Board Member Dorley?
Aye.
Board Member Edie?
Aye.
Board Member Foreman?
Aye.
Board Member Safakis?
Aye.
I also vote in favor of the motion. Voting in favor are board members Wolf, Block, Carr Favors, Cusack, Dorley, Edie, Foreman, Safakis, and myself. The motion passes. The written decisions of these appeals will be entered as of today's date, sent to the parties, and posted on the board's website. At this time, I would now ask the superintendent whether or not he has a report to share.
Thank you, President Cooper. Yes. Good evening, everybody. And first of all, let me start by, recognizing President Foreman for over 13 years of service with the police board. One of the things I can tell you is that I truly appreciate the comments made by you there, just knowing and understanding that these are not easy decisions to make. Obviously, we're making decisions on people's lives, their livelihoods, and oftentimes split-second decision-making. And I know that that doesn't come easy. Sometimes when you make a decision, you definitely have to live with that. And I can tell that you really took these decisions that you made seriously. So thank you for that. It's something that most people will never truly understand or feel when you find yourself in these situations where you have to make the tough decisions. But that tells us who we are as people. When it comes time to make those tough decisions and you do what you feel is right is the most important thing. So thank you for your comments there. Now, as a public servant, I know that you're going to continue somewhere else and not just here. So I see it on you, and I know that you're going to do great things after leaving here. So I just wanted to recognize you and say thank you for the work that you've done, and thank you for just being up front and personal and just sharing that personal story with everybody in the room here. I think that was very important. So thank you. Good evening, everybody here, especially our community members here. Just want to say thank you for being here. Appreciate you being here. The one thing I want to talk to you about is CPD's dedication to public safety, keeping our community safe, making sure that every person in this room is well taken care of, and hopefully you don't become victimized by some of the violent crimes that we've seen plaguing the city. So we've addressed some of our major problems here, which are armed robberies, vehicular hijackings, burglaries, smash and grabs, and motor vehicle thefts. We saw at the end of the year and last month, I believe I reported out to you that we were trending in the right direction. What I can tell you is our use of technology with boots on the ground and a collaborative effort between the Bureau of Patrol, the Detective Division, the Bureau of Counterterrorism, and across all bureaus for that matter, working together to identify patterns has been helpful to us reducing some of the crime. So what I'll do is just go over a few of the year-to-date numbers just for the month of January and where we're going. So year-to-date, compared to 2023, right now we're down 8 homicides from last year, which is a 35% reduction in homicides. Criminal sexual assault, which is a major concern, we're down 43 incidents for a 44% reduction from last year. Our robberies, we're down 166 incidents from last year at this time, down nearly 32%. When we look at our shooting incidents, we're down 34 for a 35% reduction. Shooting victims, we're down 46 victims, which is a decrease of 40% from last year at this time. Our burglaries, we're down 129, which is a 33% reduction from last year. And in vehicular hijackings, we're down 62 incidents, which is a decrease of 60%. With our detective division, we are, I'm proud to say that the detective division has cleared 60% of the 15 homicides that have occurred this year. So that is a very high number, right now, especially this early in the year, and we're going to continue in that direction. With our FLO program, our Family Liaison Program, growing, we're going to continue to reach out to those families who have been victimized by shootings and homicides. With that, we hope to continue to build our relationship with communities so that we can move further into the clearances of these incidents by gaining the trust of the public so that the public begins to speak up and they feel like they can trust enough in the Chicago Police Department to reach out. So we're going to continue in that direction. That being said, the most important thing here, and I talk about it as much as I can, is that our relationship with the public is very important. Our communities have to work with us. We have to work with the communities. We recognize a bunch of the issues that we face, those things that have become barriers between the communities and the police. And as I know that this is not going to happen overnight, we'll continue to chip away at that by making sure that we're reaching out to our communities and building that trust. We cannot do this alone. As a police department, I've said it before and I'll continue to say it, we cannot arrest our way out of this situation, and that's not what we want to do. What we want to do is prevent crime from happening as opposed to just responding to it. Because if we are just responding to crime and we're not doing anything to prevent it, we'll just continue to spin our wheels. We have to build our communities, we have to reach out, and bigger than all of it, we have to build our children. We have to catch children when they're young. We have to reach out to them, we have to have programs for them, we have to make sure that our kids don't get caught up in the things that they're seeing that's surrounding them. So how do we do that? By reducing the crime around these children. Not only reducing the crime, but giving these children an opportunity that they may not have had if someone doesn't step up and reach out to them. We talk about reentry programs. Those are great, but we don't want to continue to have to build people based on reentry programs. We want programs that prevent our children from entering into a reentry program, because at that point we know that the mistakes have been made. It doesn't mean that they can't correct. It doesn't mean that we can't lead them down a better path. But if we can prevent them from going down that path, that's the best possible thing that we can do. So I won't continue with this because we continue all day with talking about what we're trying to do with the community. But until that relationship is built, if we're not willing to meet each other, we're going to continue to spin our wheels. That's not what we want to do. We want to work hand in hand and work in lockstep with our community members. So we will continue to work hard with that. We know, because I see some of our community members here who always reach back, and you're always working hard in the community, and we appreciate what you do, and we'll continue to reach back to you. So thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Snelling, for that report and for the work your officers have done to start the year. It sounds like everything's trending in a really nice direction. I will next ask COPA Chief Administrator Kirsten to give her report.
Thank you and good evening. I want to start just by also echoing some of Superintendent Snelling's comments about outgoing Board President Foreman. I think what struck me the most out of the remarks that you shared, Guion, was really your humanity in all of this. I think for those of us who have committed careers to public service or spend free time that we really don't have contributing to public service, keeping centered in all that we do, our experience as humans, as residents of this city, understanding the complexities of this particular issue, that's a tall order. And you're just someone that's done that with a lot of dignity, a lot of candor, and a lot of integrity in the years that I've had the privilege of working alongside you. So just want to say thank you again to you. I will report out on just kind of what came in statistically to COPA in the month of December, last month, as I do every month at the police board. So we received 282 complaints and notifications. Of those, we retained 67 that fell under COPA's jurisdiction. The vast majority were sent back to the Bureau of Internal Affairs or other appropriate investigatory entities. Again, the highest complaint type of COPA cases was improper search or seizure allegations, constituting about 33% of our incoming cases in December. We had one police shooting in December that we were notified of, and our agency concluded 5 police shooting cases or investigations. Our sustained case rate overall was about 26%, which tends to be pretty similar month over month to what we end up concluding. I do want to give what I hope will be my last update on COPA's timeliness initiative. As I've spoken many times before the police board about since midsummer, COPA launched an initiative to really try to address the historic backlog of cases that we first inherited as a new agency back in 2017, and that were created years before that our agency even came into existence. In order to meaningfully address that, we had a specialized sort of approach to reviewing our oldest and aging cases. And now, several months after the launch of that initiative, I can say that we have reviewed over 650 cases, concluded many of them administratively with recommendations to the department for optional retraining for things that may have resulted in sustained allegations had we proceeded to full disciplinary recommendations. As I've stated many, many times before, the reasons behind this are many. Most of all, understanding and alluding to some of President Cooper's remarks about arbitration. Old cases don't have the chance of success in arbitration. So utilizing COPA's limited resources to continue laboring over and investigating old cases that don't have any ability to be successful isn't a good use, good stewardship of the resources that we have and the obligation that we have under our own municipal code and that we owe to officers and residents who complain about police interactions. So making hard decisions is something that we are used to doing at COPA and something that we certainly stand by with respect to this timeliness initiative. Something that I think is really important to note is that as a result of that, we currently have 664 open cases in our office. Again, that number may sound huge, but you'd have to go back over a decade to get anywhere near that as far as open cases in the predecessor agencies that tried to do this work before. So if I can speak to any officers, any impacted parties or complainants, or just interested residents of the city, we did this hard work, we made these hard choices so that we can endeavor to do this job differently than it's been done in the 30-some years before today. We understand that we have an obligation to come to conclusion in these cases in a timeline that gives meaningful feedback to officers, that gives resolution to them and their families, as well as the people making these complaints. I've been an employee, I am an employee, I'm an employer. I understand that when you are trying to discipline or correct behavior, pointing that out 3 years after the fact doesn't help a lot. So we are setting ourselves as an agency on a path to be able to conclude all of these investigations within 18 months or less going forward. And something that's really important is as we wrapped up this initiative, we took the time to electronically notify over 600 officers that their aging cases had been concluded. There was nothing left for them to do. They may end up getting retrained on some issues. Perhaps some of their in-service training will have already covered those topics. But really wanting to let them know we are going to do this differently going forward. I think, again, and I've made comments like this in the past, when you come to police board every month, you do not see what is reflective of the entire body of cases that come before us as an agency. You see the most serious cases, you see the cases that the superintendent and I don't agree on, but when you look at the data behind the work that COPA does every single month, the vast majority of citizen complaints and notifications do not result in discipline for officers. And that's not because we're not doing our job right, it's because we are. Many of the interactions that community members are having with police may be misunderstood, they may be fraught, but most of them do not result in misconduct. And that's an important thing that I want to be as transparent about as possible, because for those of you that hear outcomes like tonight's, superintendent and I don't see eye to eye on that. But of the thousands of cases that were resolved in the last year, that's not reflective of the majority of things that come before my agency and that we send to the Chicago Police Department. So I respect that we may not always share the same opinion and that there are places like this to meet out those disagreements and differences. And I appreciate the public's attention to what the big picture looks like, because I know, as Superintendent Snelling mentioned, that when the Chicago Police Department wants to rebuild trust, the role that COPA plays in that the police board plays in that the Inspector General plays in that the commission and our local district council plays in that is vital. So at COPA, we're going to continue doing our job to the best of our abilities, and we're going to continue delivering as objective and complete results and recommendations as we can on a timeline that I think will serve all Chicagoans much more effectively in the future. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief Administrator Kirsten. That was very helpful. At this point, I will now open the meeting up to public comments. I would just ask that the individuals who have signed up to speak tonight limit their comments to 2 minutes each so that we can get through all the comments. And so at this time, I would like to call Zakiya Muhammad.
I would just like to say to outgoing President Foreman, congratulations, my brother, and may you find success wherever you go. Superintendent Snelling, congratulations to you, and I do hope that you are received and work as well in the community as Chief Wilder did. We loved him, and he worked very well with us activists, and you know how out of hand we could get when we shut down North Michigan Avenue. But Chief Wilder, he knew what to do with us. So I hear good things about you, and I wish you all the best. My name is Zakiya Muhammad. I am a community activist and a longtime member of Bronzeville. I was in TJ Maxx on January the 5th, downtown. I was verbally assaulted by a very, very, very angry Mexican guy. If it had not been for the security guard, because he was swinging at me with a duffel bag, calling me a stupid black bitch and swinging, but the security guard caught the duffel bag each time he swung at me. I called the police on 2 occasions to come because I was so nervous, because he was hollering out, "I'll kill you. You'll die. You will die." I said, "Security, did you hear him just threaten my life?" Then he tried to clean it up and he said, "No." I said, "God will kill you." But everybody in the store was at a standstill. They saw it. The police came, and I'm assaulted again because the police came, and one officer in particular treated me so mean and disrespectful. He was young, younger than my grandchildren, talking down to me, talking at me, asking me quick questions. Well, what did you say this? What did you say? And I'm already nervous. I'm already upset at this man that just threatened my life. And I'm talking about these officers because I wrote their names down, because I took a picture of the gentleman, not gentleman, I took a picture of that angry Mexican man down there that was trying to get at me, to hit me with that duffel bag. And I have a picture of the security guard. So I was so upset and so angry at this man, this little officer about this tall, just looking up at me, talking to me like you talk to somebody that you dislike. Sheer disdain in his eyes for me. The other one that was with him, the one that was disrespectful to me, Cortez. The other one, Estranada. Very nice, quiet. Didn't hardly say anything but give me instructions. "Ma'am, we'll give you a report to do this, that, and the other." And that's just how his tone was. He kept his tone. The other one, the little one, what do you want? What, didn't you say so-and-so? What? And I'm stumbling too, and I'm nervous now, and I'm trembling. I mean, I'm 78 years old, brother. I can't tolerate that kind of mistreatment. Especially from young people like that, that's very hurtful. I wouldn't have come here in this cold if it hadn't affected me so bad when it happened. I want to talk to somebody about this because I shouldn't have had to be treated. I shouldn't have had to leave out of that store by myself, looking over my shoulder, wondering if this nut is going to sneak up on me and attack me, all while I was going to find a cab. I'm looking over my shoulder.
Ms. Muhammad, thank you for sharing. I'm sure if you wait till the end of the meeting, that somebody will happily speak
That
with
was
you.
just going to be my next, because I'm long-winded. Thank
That's
you,
okay.
brother.
That's
All
okay.
right, thank you.
Thank you for sharing. The next person who I would like to call is Matt Brandon.
Good evening, everybody. Board, Superintendent, Deputy Chief. And again, like Sister Muhammad, from the community, we want to say thank you, and like the superintendent said, your words really meant something because we know how you've been touched by this job. Just so everybody knows, when you talk about the long hours away from family, we understand what you mean, but what they don't know, you go beyond that because you respond to the community outside of the police board. You've come out when we've asked you to come out. So we appreciate everything that you've done over those years, and thank you very much. Superintendent, the community is going to be there to work with you. Sister Muhammad will learn that you are, you're not Fred Waller, you're Larry Snelling, but you're a man of character, you're a man of honesty and dependability, and Sister Muhammad will really treasure that. You're so welcome, my sister. On the issue of arbitration, prior to, after I left the police department, I went to work for SEIU, Local 73, and we represented the civilians on the Chicago Police Department. And so I had a lot of interaction with Ed Bent. And I'm a little bit torn because in that role, I wanted Ed Bent because I wanted Ed Bent to rule for me and the people that I represented. And I always felt that the arbitrator was a bit biased towards the worker, which in my role at that time was good. I don't think that arbitration is appropriate for the police department. I think that this board has to have the decision-making power on how this is going to happen, along with COPA recommendations and the recommendations from the superintendent. I agree with you on your position, President. I think you're right about that. And the community, I'm sure, will support you in that. And we hope that the City Council does too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brandon. The next person I would like to call for public comment is Mr. Patrick Jenkins.
How y'all doing? My name is Patrick Jenkins. I'm the son of Michael Craig, the guy who Officer Kobe Caruvius murdered. I listened to the superintendent down on the other end, and I totally disagree. The last superintendent suggested that the same officer be terminated. Same officer who was supposed to have been terminated was able to kill my dad. The same officers that we called from 911, for 911, we was taught since kindergarten, when you in help, to call who? They come through the door. They was warned 4 times from the camera that everyone saw. Who was who? That officer didn't take the time to realize there was human beings on the other side of that wall. And he shot. Not once, but twice. So, to you, young man, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. You will be leaving. You'll see your daughter. You'll see your wife. I'll never see my daddy again. In a 90-day suspension for something he should have been terminated for years ago, it's a reason why we do what we do. And I'm saying we because I'm on the opposite side of you guys. We don't call the police when things get rough. We die on our end. While he's at home, going home every night, suspended, still working, getting a paycheck. It's okay for what he did. Had it been me, I'd have been in cuffs in 26 in California, if not in the penitentiary right now. So for you to sit there and say that it's okay, give him a suspension and retrain him and send him back out there for him to kill someone else, that's fine, right? How would you feel if your daughter couldn't come home to you? And I'm quite sure a lot of you guys are parents. This hurts. And I'm going to say something that I shouldn't say. But when something happened to you guys, it's almost like we applaud because we want you to feel what we feel. When an officer get killed, it's like, because y'all never get to see what we see. But we all humans, and it's sick. You don't see that side of it. So for you to sit up there and say, oh, it's okay, he made a mistake. The last superintendent said, get rid of him. Someone said, no, let's keep him. Look what happened. So now here it is send him back out there. This lady had a complaint. Police don't do nothing. I'm just being honest. They don't. If we have a discrepancy, we like, man, just go on about y'all business. We could do this on our own. We hate to see y'all. We hate to see blue and white. There is no connection. There is no respect. There is no let us call y'all for help. That man called y'all himself. My little brother called y'all, knocked on the door for help, told y'all going up the stairs. The officer heard before my daddy sat up there and died. She has a knife to my neck. He screamed in pain while she went to work, and he sat there and lied on it, and y'all sat there and said, it's okay, and now you sit there and say, it's okay, he could go back to work? He ain't never stopped working. 90-day suspension? What's the suspension? He been working 2+ years. I would like to know the logic. I know it's my time. It happens. It's always been our time. I done heard y'all go on 3+ minutes about how this great guy was a great guy. But I gotta shut up about a guy that ain't never gonna be here no more. So if I have to leave these last words, please look into what y'all doing. Reconsider. We humans just like y'all. We go through the same thing y'all go through. We eat at the same restaurants y'all go through. And this ain't even about my daddy. This is about everybody that got to go through that. And ignoring the fact that race plays a role, whether it's black or white, brown or white, brown or black, our problem is blue. And if y'all really want to help, come talk to us. I look around, ain't nobody in here look like me. Y'all ain't reaching us, but I sat there and listened to you go down the list of everybody that look like me do what they do, and y'all sat up there and applauded, locking them up. And that's part of some of the issue. Because while y'all taking daddies away, whether you kill them or you throw them in jail for some of the stuff that y'all supposed to be doing, what you think them kids gonna do? Because y'all ain't going out there filling them roles. Y'all leaving them absent. Y'all leaving them to the streets. The people that's there to do exactly what y'all saying y'all helping us from. We are those people. We people just like y'all. Y'all got a badge and a shirt. And also a responsibility and a duty to do what y'all say y'all gonna do. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Hearing from no other members of the public, I would like to move this meeting to adjournment. With that being said, is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes and the meeting is adjourned.
I'm sorry, I know the meeting's adjourned. I just want to say that the last speaker was extremely moving, and one of the reasons that we serve, I think I can speak for all of us on the police board, is to try to address the kind of issues you're talking about. I think it's true also of the police department, and it was very courageous to come forward and talk to us. We did all hear you. It's very hard to respond to what you said, but I think we all understand and have absorbed it, and it will be part of what affects us when we hear cases. So thank you for coming.